Mahmoud Rajab Ahmed Abdul Majid al-Aswad. I am a Palestinian American. My hometown is Yibna, Palestine. I was occupied in June 4th of 1948. My father, who joins us this evening, and my mother were both about 8 and 5 years of age as they had to move or were forced out of their hometown of Yibna and relocate briefly to Gaza on their way eventually to Rafah, where they spent their early adulthood, and then later on moved to Qatar, where my siblings and I were born and raised. That is why tonight it is my distinct honor and pleasure to be your co-host for this evening with Dr. Michael Spath, the Executive Director of the Indiana Center for Middle East Peace. It is through the efforts of our friends of the Universal Education Foundation, a Muslim organization here in Fort Wayne, and the Indiana Center for Middle East Peace that we bring this to your attention this evening and hope to raise some awareness and raise some funding for the children and families of Gaza. We are gathered here tonight because we all read in Micah that he has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. We also read in Luke about the story of the Good Samaritan, as Jesus tells us in the Bible that a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by a bunch of robbers that stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he went to him and bandaged his wounds. Then he put the man on his own donkey and brought him to an inn and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper and said, "Look after him. And when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have." We read in the Quran that God says, "Man qatala nafsan bighayri nafsin aw fasadin fil ardi faka'annama qatala an-nasa jami'an. Wa man ahyaha faka'annama ahya an-nasa jami'an." We read in the Quran that whoever kills a soul, unless for a soul or for corruption done in the land, it is as if he had slain mankind in its entirety, and whoever saves one, it is as if he had saved mankind in its entirety. We are gathered here tonight because we read in Democracy Now! That as of yesterday, August 21st, the Israeli offensive in Gaza has resumed, and the impact the military campaign has had on the children of Gaza has left more than 467 Palestinian children dead since July. That is more than the combined number of child fatalities in the 2 previous offensives in Gaza. According to the World Health Organization, more than 3,000 children have been injured, of which an estimated 1,000 will suffer from a lifelong disability. The United Nations estimates that at least 373,000 children require direct and specialized psychosocial support. And based on the total number of adults killed, there may be up to 1,500 children orphaned. Gazan children's right to an education has been severely compromised, with at least 25 schools reportedly damaged so severely that they can no longer be used. Democracy Now! Reports that they spoke to Pernille Ironside, chief of UNICEF's Gaza field office, and quote him as saying, "There isn't a single family in Gaza who hasn't experienced personally death, injury, the loss of their home, extensive damage, or displacement." Ironside says that the psychological toll that has on a people, it just cannot be overestimated, and especially to children. But it is our humanity which binds us, and our faiths which guide us, that we are here present tonight to help the Gazan children and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, we may all individually pray for peace, but we must all act for justice and mercy. It is my honor to introduce Dr. Michael Spath, Executive Director of Indiana Center for Middle East Peace, with a couple of words of welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. In Al-Tirmidhi, Hadith 1042, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Do you know who will go first on the day of resurrection to the shade of God? Those who, when given what is right, accept it. When asked for something, give freely, and who judge in favor of others as they do for themselves." In Bukhari, Volume 9, Hadith 255, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Do not wish to be like anyone except in two cases. One, a man whom God has given wealth, he spends it righteously. And two, a man whom God has given wisdom, he acts according to it and teaches it to others." I'm really delighted to be here with my friend Ahmed, especially as we have this joint effort on behalf of the people and children of Gaza, a joint effort between the Universal Education Foundation and the Indiana Center for Middle East Peace. Our friends, our Muslim friends at UEF are very dear to us, and this is such a good thing that we're doing tonight on so many different levels. Such a good thing, an important thing, and really, in many ways, an unprecedented thing in our community. The fact that we're working together for this common cause. You'll hear later on about the two organizations that we've chosen to support tonight. They do wonderful, wonderful work throughout Palestine, but particularly in Gaza. Life, Relief, and Development, which is very well known in the Muslim community here, and the WIAM Conflict Resolution Transformation Center, which is very well known among the Christians here, particularly those who've gone with me to Israel and Palestine. We'll hear more about them later on tonight. I want to call your attention to a couple of events that are coming up that our organization is sponsoring that will be in support of the people of Gaza. On the larger handout that's on your tables, the larger flyer, these are all of our fall programs this fall, but you'll see the second one, particularly where the birds should fly. Where should the birds fly? And it's the story of two young women, particularly the director and then a 12-year-old girl, right after Operation Cast Lead in 2008 in Gaza. It's a very important film. We'll be showing it at Plymouth Congregational Church on Thursday, September 25th. The other event, which is coming up much quicker, and that is on the half-page flyer. Around the country, September 3rd and September 4th have been set aside as days of vigil and lament for the people of Gaza. And Indiana Center for Middle East Peace will be sponsoring this vigil and lament at Lakeside Park, Pavilion number 2. We were just there yesterday reserving the pavilion. We're asking that you bring flowers to share, and it's an opportunity for us to give names to those who remained, at least for our media in the U.S., who've remained nameless and faceless. And so we're going to read the names aloud of the children and youth 20 years old and younger. We're going to read them aloud on that day. And so there'll be an opportunity for silent reflection, silent prayer, meditation, and a commitment to the cause of human rights around the world and solidarity with the people of Palestine and the people of Gaza. So Thursday, September the 4th and Thursday, September 25th are two dates that are coming up on our calendar that will be important dates that we've set aside for the people of Gaza. Over 2,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, out of which, as Ahmed said, more than 80%, the UN estimates, are civilians, women and children. The reason that this has caught the attention of the world is that this is not merely a Muslim crisis. You know, there are Christians in Gaza too. It's not merely an Arab crisis. More importantly, it's not merely a Palestinian crisis. It's a human crisis, and it causes each one of us to search our own hearts and souls. And this is why all people of goodwill have been moved by the suffering they've seen. But even more, I want to say, even more, it's worse, especially for those of us in the United States, because we've been complicit in the suffering. We've been complicit in the suffering that we've seen through our military aid to Israel for decades. So we bear, well, let me just say, I feel the weight of the burden I bear as a citizen. And so tonight, I hope that each one of us feels a special tug at our heart and a need, a desire, but a real urgent need to give, because the need, as you know, is great. If you have breath in your lungs, if your heart beats at all, tonight, if you're a person of goodwill, no matter your faith or no faith at all, tonight, if you're a human being, we're all Palestinian. We're all Gazans. The news report was brief and to the point. August 1st, 2014. Here's the report. A baby girl has been born through a posthumous cesarean section after her parents and brothers were killed by an Israeli airstrike, according to Palestinian medical officials. The girl's mother, Shema Hussein al-Sheikh Ali, 24, was killed by shrapnel after the roof of her family home collapsed on Thursday. Her daughter, also named Shema, weighed 5 pounds and was in stable condition in Al-Aqsa Hospital on Monday. Dr. Wajdi Keshta said, quote, "They brought in the mother and she was in the last month of her pregnancy. The doctors operated on her, and when they found that the baby they had taken from inside her still had a heartbeat, they placed her on a respirator, and she'll remain in the hospital for at least 5 weeks because she's suffering from a shortage of oxygen." And after this news report was released, a poem entitled "A Night Vigil with Shema," a poem for Gaza, appeared. And it appeared and was spread all around the world. And this is how it begins. "Sleep, Shema. Don't come to this life. Don't open your eyes to this strife. Your mom is not here. Don't move your little mouth around for her breast. She will not give you an embrace. She will not see your face. She will not come. The story is hard, Shema, for this is Gaza. But you have not lived too long. You still need oxygen to breathe. No, you don't know the mystery of your unborn story. This is Gaza, Shema. It is either a prison or a graveyard. Buds are not allowed to grow on our trees. Shema, don't open your eyes. This is Gaza. Every shop, road, and quarter, every hospital and school is a slaughterhouse where child meat is cheap. But your breathing 5 pounds flesh is too dear to ignore. Your grandma says all your mom's dream was to see you come out, give you a hug and kisses. But this is an impossible dream, Shema, because this is Gaza. Multiply this story by 1,000, by 10,000, by 100,000. Multiply this story by 1.8 million, and you get the story of Gaza. We're here tonight to remember. We're here tonight to bear witness. And we're here tonight to give. Because tonight, no matter who you are, if you are a human being, we're all Palestinian. We're all Gazans. It's really my delight at this stage.